Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And this time I'm going to review another animated film that a lot of people do enjoy. It's another Disney Pixar film, and I do enjoy the film as well. And of course they're coming up with an upcoming sequel coming out next year, 2016, and it's been a long time, for a sequel to come out for this film. People wanted to see a sequel, and now they're finally going to get it. And this film I'm reviewing is now Finding Nemo. Disney Pixar's Finding Nemo. I do enjoy Finding Nemo. I do. Um, this is um, this is only a single disc though, but I remember that there used to be. I remember there was a 2-disc edition though, but if I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm perfectly fine with this single disc though. But if I do though, just get the 2-disc edition. Though eventually I'll get it though, but Finding Nemo came out in the year 2003, and the film was a big hit. That's basically what the film house made it. The film was a big hit. It received universal acclaim, universal critically acclaimed. So much praise, miles and miles upon praise. Um, and the film came out on a budget of 94 million. And when the film made total worldwide, when it came out back in 2003, it was like, I forget, it was like around 800 and some million dollars. And it was the second highest grossing film of 2003, behind the last Lord of the Rings films, The Return of the King. And then sometime in September 2012, they re-released it in 3D, because that's what they did. Like, since the Lion King did very well in 3D, they released a few others, including The Beauty and the Beast, and what was it? They released other ones, including the Star Wars Episode 1 in 3D, then Jurassic Park 3D, and they released this in 3D, including also a Monsters Inc. That's what I was thinking of, Monsters Inc. in 3D. And the films when it came out in 3D re-release, they didn't do as make as quite as money. So that's why, since to the poor, well, I don't want to say poor, they made fair amount of money though, but since they just didn't do well as people thought it would, they decided to cancel all other upcoming 3D re-releases, including they were going to re-release The Little Mermaid, But I saw these three in the 3D re-release. It was nice seeing back in theaters, because I remember seeing this back in 2003. It was nice to see it in theaters again. And now with the money made with the 3D re-release, is now made over 936 million. So it's so it made that was made close to making $1 billion. With the help of the re-release, so 936 million, good, that's good enough for the film, And the film, like I said, received miles upon praise. It's an 8.2 on IMDb, and it's a 99% Rotten Tomatoes. That was fantastic, And it won a lot of course, including all the praise it won. It was nominated and won a lot of awards, including 4 Academy Awards, I believe. It won for Best Animated Feature Film. It was nominated for Original Song, Screenplay, and I forget what the other nomination was though. But it won a lot of awards and nominations as well though. And it's directed by Andrew Stanton, who directed another Disney Pixar film. I believe he directed WALL-E. I think, yeah, I'm very positive he directed WALL-E. And of course he directed one of the biggest flops of all time, John Carter, But Finding Nemo is miles better than John Carter, Even WALL-E is miles better than John Carter. They expected, I guess, he directed such critically successful films like Finding Nemo and WALL-E. They thought it would be the same thing with John Carter, but no. that's a live action film, and those two were anime films. That's the big difference, you know. But and also what also worked was also the voice casting. Albert Brooks as Marlin, our lead. Of course, Ellen DeGeneres as Dory, which is going to be the long sequel called Finding Dory, you know, coming out in June 2016. I'll get to the other cast members though. Well, there's your two main cast voices, and they both did it. Al Brooks did a good job as Marlin, especially, and also really for sure everyone loves Ellen DeGeneres as Dory. And the film, getting into the story, you know, that of course opens with two in the Great Barrier Reef. You have two clownfishes, Marlin and his wife Coral. They're living in their new home in the sea anemones, you know, and they see in the ocean. I know it's in the ocean, but they see a barracuda. And Carol's looking down where all their eggs are, you know, and she's looking down. Marlin's saying, get back in, they'll be fine. But she doesn't listen, and she starts diving down, and the barracuda attacks them. He knocks Marlin out, and when he wakes up, they're all, the eggs and her are gone. All except for one egg. And Marlin picks it up and calls him Nemo. And this when now it's some time later, you know, Nemo, of course he has one flimsy little fin, you know, because from during what happened to the attack on with the barracuda, you know, because of that. And so he has a little flimsy fin. He calls it his lucky fin, you know, and he's ready. He's excited for school, you know. But Merlin is trying to being a little overprotective, you know, on the way to school. And then when Nemo wants to take a field trip with his classmates, you know, they see some of the classmates and him sneak off, and they see like the edge of the reef, you know, they see in the distance a boat, you know. One of them tries dares go up and swim up to it and touch it, you know. And Marlin finds out, and he gets mad at him, you know, and Nemo gets mad, so he swims out there and touches the boat, you know, until two divers show up, and one of them takes Nemo, and another diver is with Marlin and takes a picture, you know. They both swim off, and they take up in the boat, and they drive off, you know. And Marlin tries to swim past and catches the boat, but it's no good. And that's when he wants to go back and goes in there, tries to save him, you know. And that's when he meets Dory, you know. I try to ask someone for help, you know. And she says help, and as they're swimming, you know, she like forgets who he was in a millisecond, which of course, you know, she has like short-term memory loss, you know, slightly forgetting who she meets or what she says, you know, whatever, you know. And Merlin's like, something's wrong with you, really, you know. And he's about to leave, he runs into the big great white shark, Bruce, you know. And of course, the great white shark, his name is Bruce. Of course, the nod to Jaws, because Steven Spielberg named the mechanical shark named Bruce, because it was after Steven Spielberg's lawyer, you know. So that's why. But I thought it was a nice kind of like a nod to that, to name in the great white shark Bruce, you know. Sort of the nod to Jaws, you know. The name of the shark in Jaws. So he meets Bruce. Is like, it's like in his face, he's like smiling, saying hello. He's like, name's Bruce. It's all right. I understand. Why trust a shark, huh? So Bruce takes both of them to this sunken submarine. Of course, it's surrounded by undersea mines, you know, where he has two other sharks. His other shark friends, Anchor and Chum. You know, when they like try to have this meeting, like doing like saying that fish are friends, not food, you know. And while that Merlin spots the mask, one of the masks that the divers dropped, you know, has some writing on it to give him the location where he's at, you know. He wants to read it, you know, and Marlon accidentally hits Dory, and she like gives her a little bit of a nosebleed, and um, Bruce smells it. He's like, ooh, that's good. And his friends try to stop him, but he goes and chases after them, you know. Um, and Marla knows that Dory can read. She tries to read it, but they're still chasing by Bruce. And they get into this the hole where the torpedo is in, you know. And Dory hits this thing, releases the torpedo, and Bruce throws it, and they'll swim away because it's going to hit one of the sea mines, have a chain reaction of all the bombs exploding, you know. And then it cuts to when Nemo getting dumped into a tank, you know, where where the diver is, who was a dentist, you know. And Nemo meets all the other fish that's in the tank, you know. Other ones, what are the other ones? A puffer fish, a yellow fish. I forget what the fish are called. I'm looking up right here. I know a puffer fish, a yellow tang, then a starfish, and a royal grandma, and then a shrimp, you know, and you know, what the shrimp likes to clean, you know, and like the one of the characters named the fish named Flo, who thinks she has a sister, but she's talking to her a reflection, you know. One fish, the other fish, you know, doesn't like germs, like, oh, you know, he hasn't been decontaminated yet. And the yellow fish who likes bubbles that comes out of the treasure chest, you know. And they're all like, oh, they've been there for a long time because they're like watching what the dentist does, you know. And then because one of the dentist has a niece, you know, who wants to pick up the Nemo as a fish for a pet, you know, because there's a picture of her, you know, holding a bag with a fish, but it's dead, you know. It's like she couldn't stop shaking the bag, you know. She's a fish killer, you know. So that's what the dentist got Nemo for a pet, you know. And when he accidentally gets sucked up in one of the things that draws in the water, you know, and it meets the other fish, Gil, voiced by Willem Dafoe. And also that's another good voice casting. Willem Dafoe did good as voicing as Gil, you know. Because his Gil, he has like at one side he has like all scars, and part of his fin is all torn up, you know. And it tells him that he must be able to get out of that himself, you know. So he gets himself out, introduces him to everyone, and then cuts back to Marlin and Dory, who's where he's hanging on the piece of the sub, and it's been it's tipping over, you know, and like a teeter totter, you know. And when they actually they as they move a bit, and then the submarine starts sliding down, but hits the wall, and they actually lose the mask down to the pitch blackness, and it's like, no, get the mask, you know. And Dora's like, hey, Mr. Grumpy Gills, you want to get you down? You know what happens? Just keep swimming, you know. He just grabs him around, just take him down to the pitch darkness, can't see anything, you know, until there's like another funny line, like, who's that? Ah, who's that? What do you think it is? It's me. Are you my conscience? Yeah, that's it. I'm your conscience. We haven't spoken for a while, you know. And then they see a light, you know. They swim towards it, you know, and they think it's cute and everything until really, you know, they're the face to face with an anglerfish, you know. And the look of the anglerfish, I thought it would somewhat kind of scary in a way though, but not really that scary. But it's just the look of it, you know, how anglerfishes are supposed to look, you know. Because, you know, if you look up pictures online, you know, so see how scary they look in real life in pitch darkness, you know, all the lights they have, you know. But yeah, I like that scene where they're trying to swim, but they can't see where they're going until they see the mask, and he has Dory try to read what it says on the mask, and while she's trying to read, Marlin's trying to swim away from the anglerfish, you know, and until she gets it all right, and the anglerfish gets caught in the mask, you know. So they swim all the way back up, you know, and until when later in the night, Gil explains that Nemo and everyone his next plan, because he had other attempts of making plans to get out, but failed, you know. So they think this one's is gonna succeed, you know. Try to get a pebble into like the inside the filtration, you know, clog it up so that way the tank gets all filthy, you know. So that way the dentists have to take him out and put him in bags so they can get out through the window, you know. And while that the Marlin and Dory, they find like a group of fish, you know, that does impressions, you know. And that was another funny thing when Marlin's getting impatient, he's like, "Will somebody please give me directions?" And they'll impersonate him, talking back to him, "Will somebody please give me the directions?" You know, "I'm serious, blah blah blah, maybe blah 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 blah," you know. But Dory manages to tell him into giving directions to Sydney, Australia, you know. And as they're going away, the fish gives Dory a word of advice, you know, when they get to this trench, you know, to swim through it, not over it. But Marlin wants to swim over it, and he tricks Dory just swimming over it, but saying, you know, "Oh, look, something shiny," you know. And Dory sees like a teeny tiny little jellyfish, but she doesn't know what it is. But Marlin smacks it away until a whole bunch of jellyfish start swarming all the way down, you know, until they Marlin and Dory try to have a little bit of a race, you know, jumping on the tops of the jellyfishes so it doesn't sting you. But Marlin gets through thinking he won, but Dory didn't come out, so he goes back and she's like trapped inside. But Marlin grabs her, trying to endure the pang of all the stings, you know. But until the end, he blacks out, you know. He blacks out, and when he wakes up, he's in the current, you know, the Australian current, you know, where all these turtles, all the turtles, they're like going to, guess they're going to like the migration or wherever, I forget what it was, until it makes one of the turtles named Crush, you know, and Dory's fine, and Marlo's telling everyone about what happened to his son, and of course it's word spread throughout the ocean, telling about the story, you know. And back at the fish tank, they tried to attempt doing that, but it failed though. But Nemo manages to did it himself and completed it the second time. So, and back with Marlin and Dory, they get out of the current until they swim through this thing, I forget what it was, and then until they see something in the distance, a black mass in the distance, you know, and Marlin is not sure to ask for directions, but until Dory wants to give directions, she starts speaking. Of course, it's a whale, so Dory starts speaking with like, "Come back," you know. But they know the whale sneaks up behind them, swallows them, but doesn't eat them yet. Which is it's a blue whale, you know, the biggest whale in the whole world, you know. So they're inside the whale's mouth, you know, and then something is wrong, and then Dory's trying to ask it again, you know, until all the water is going down, you know, and thought they're gonna get swallowed, but really enough, the whale blows water through his blowhole, you know, both are free. And they arrived in Sydney, Australia. So they try to look for the boat, you know, that took them. And the next day, but the next day when the back of the fish tank, you know, the tank was filthy though, but the dentist installed a new filter system that completely cleaned the whole tank, and then the dentist's niece, Darla, arrives, you know, and the dentist put Nemo in the bag, you know, and then back in the port, you know, the docks, a pelican snatches Marlin and Dory and tries to swallow him, and Marlin's like, "No, I didn't come this far to be breakfast," you know, and the pelican starts choking, you know, and you see all the pelicans seeing what's happening, and one of the pelicans, Nigel, is voiced by Geoffrey Rush, who played Captain Barbossa, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean. And that's another good voice casting. Geoffrey Rush as Nigel the Pelican. and he sees both of them. They got spat out, and he sees both of them and recognizes what they are, who they are, you know. And Nigel's trying to tell him they get surrounded by a bunch of seagulls, which is that was another hilarious thing with the seagulls. All they keep saying is mine, 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 you know. And Nigel's trying to tell him he knows where his son is, you know, and the seagulls attacking them, and that's really it. Like that scene right there, you know. So they fly. They start flying towards the dentist's place, and when Darla's there, you know, Nemo is trying pretends to be dead, you know, think he's gonna get flushed down the toilet, but before that, Nigel attacks Marlin makes Nigel attack the dentist, you know, but when Marlin sees that Nemo was dead, you know, which he didn't know, they both all of them got forced out the window, but Gil had an idea to use the volcanoes inside the tank and shoots them all the way into the tray where the dentist's tools are, and tells Nemo, says, "Tell your father I said hi," and throws him into the thing where, you know, where you spit in, you know, and because he knows that all drains lead to the ocean, you know. So Nemo is swimming through the pipes until he gets out, you know, and Marlin knows thinking that his son is dead, so he is all miserable and wants to swim back, you know. Dory starts forgetting again until when Nemo meets Dory, you know, and he's like, "I'm Nemo," and he's like, "Nemo? That's a nice name." Until she sees on the pipe that said Sydney, and she gets all her memories back, you know, and remembers who Nemo is, and they start asking one of the crabs, you know, where he went, you know, and it's like, "Yeah, I know where he went, and there's no way you're gonna make me," you know. And that was another funny scene that Dory, like, gets that mean look, you know, and lifts with the crab up to the surface and see the seagulls going, "Mine." It's like, "Okay, I'll talk," you know. So as Marlin is like swimming away, you know, when he hears his son's voice, they both reunite, and then all the fish start swimming backwards because there's a fishing boat scoops up in the big net. Dory is in the net, you know, and Nemo has an idea to tell all the fish to swim down, you know, swim down, putting pressure on the net. So everybody does, and the thing breaks off the boat, and everyone's free. And Marlin sees that Nemo's under the net, you know, but he's all right though. So back at home, this time Marlin is telling his son, time for school," and he's excited for him to go to school, you know, and knows that Nemo can take care of himself now, and is not being overprotective, you know, and of course he tells the fathers of some of the kids, you know, because a couple of things that happened throughout the film. He said he's a clownfish, and they said, "Tell us a funny joke," you know, and first he wasn't telling the joke right, and they think it wasn't funny until he corrects himself and tells the joke right, you know. And then Bruce and his two guys, they show up and it's like, "Oh, pardon me," and the three of the guys, like, they're like first scared to see him, and then I was like, "Hello." But Dory, they were just there to drop off Dory, you know. So I was like, "Well, we'll see you next week. Keep up with the program, Dory. Remember, fish are friends, not food." So Marlin and Dory just watch as Nemo starts in his class swims away on their school trip, you know. And then it shows back at the dentist's office that the thing breaks, and all the fish in the fish tank have gone in bags, and they finally succeed in escaping, and they drop in the water, and they're like, "Well, what do we do now?" Because they're all in plastic bags, you know. And that's so. Yeah, I enjoy Finding Nemo. I'm glad that the film got praised, you know, and won the awards, you know. And I'm looking forward to seeing for the long-awaited sequel, Just like it's the same thing with with Jurassic World, you know. This is set with 2003, and now it's been 13 years since the sequel's coming out, you know. Andrew Stanton is just coming back to direct, you know, and in the sequel you have other in the sequel Ellen DeGeneres comes back, and Albert Brooks comes back as Marlin and Dory. Willem Dafoe comes back as Gil as well. So it's nice to see the three main casts comes back, you know. And of course you got new cast members, voices as well as because in the film you introduced to Dory's parents, Dory's mother and father. The parents are voiced by Diane Keaton and Eugene Levy. Ty Burrell, who voiced Mr. Peabody and starred in Dawn of the Dead, you know, he's also going to be voicing as well as this beluga whale. And I believe that Idris Elba is also going to be voicing as well, but I'm not sure what character though. And it said the film's going to take place a year after the first film. So I'm very sure when the sequel can come out, it's going to be a big hit. Without a doubt in my mind, that the sequel's going to be a big hit. You know, after all the, well, what was the word? What was the word? I forget what was that word. My mind's a blank. I can't forget what that word is. Not anticipations or expectations. I forget what that word is. I'm always forgetting what the word is. But other words, I was saying I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel, Finding Dory. You know, but I enjoyed the first film a lot. The voice cast the voice cast did a good job, especially Albert Brooks, Ellen DeGeneres, Willem Dafoe, Geoffrey Rush, and a little bit voice role as Nigel. You know. The film, and I'm glad I saw the 3D re-release. You know, it was worth seeing. You know, because I enjoy the film. You know, I've seen all the other 3D re-release films like The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. You know, and even Monsters Inc. It's too bad they didn't re-release the Little Mermaid, because they were going to, but due to the poor, very little money, the 3D re-releases again, so they decided to cancel it. You know, this is too bad. You know, I'd like to see the Little Mermaid in 3D re-release. You know. But yeah. And the film, it's on for 100 minutes, but when a decent pace, you know, wasn't dragging on, you know. The characters were likable, you know, and I'm glad the film won the Academy Award for best animated feature film. You know, I'm glad it won. I'm glad it made. I'm gonna say I'm glad I made a lot of money, you know, because it's a great film, you know. Definitely will. It's not one of the. Well, I don't want. I think I was saying I'm not belittling the film in any way, you know, but it's not. I don't think I wouldn't put in my top 10 all-time favorite animated films though, but I still do enjoy the film, you know. I'm glad I got all the praise, you know, but I still enjoy the film. I'm not belittling the film in any way, you know. Even like I said, I would not put in my top 10 all-time favorite anime films, but I still enjoy the film though. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel, which originally it was supposed to come out in November 2015 though, but they pushed it to June 2016. So the original release date was going to that other Disney Pixar film, The Good Dinosaur, you know. So yeah, so that's basically that's my review for Finding Nemo. You know, the animation top notch, as like Disney Pixar is always. You know, characters like I said, like Marlin, Dory, Gil, Bruce. You know, we have the anglerfish. all characters, all characters like likable characters, you know. And like I said, for the last time, I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel. You know, hopefully it will be. Looking forward to, especially it's 13 years since technically 13 years since the first film came out. You know, 2003, 2016, 13 years. You know. Yeah, so that's my review for Finding Nemo. I'm sure also a lot of people do love the film. I'm like 95% of the people enjoy Finding Nemo. So yeah. But if you still haven't seen Finding Nemo, go check it out for yourself. You know, hopefully maybe you'll enjoy it. You know, but I don't think there's all that person who hasn't seen this film. You know. So yeah, Finding Nemo. Um, thanks for watching, and take care, and stay tuned on the next movie review. And we'll see you later. Bye bye.